Amen. All right. So, welcome. Like I said earlier, we're going to be having a very wonderful time this morning. Let me say this before I go ahead. What is important for you to acquire knowledge as a consultant, as a realtor? It is very, very important because the world we are living today is a world of knowledge. People go for who know road. So there's so many people out there who are just busy and their own target is just let me just make sales. Let me just go out for marketing. I can call the office for any question they are asking me or whatever. And then what many of us ends up doing is that we end up standing as middlemen or middle women. What I mean by middlemen is this: you get a client, you bring a client, and because you don't have knowledge about what you are doing. So you end up being the middleman. So come, let me take you to the office, or come and speak to this person, and then the person ends up, you know, passing you by, meet the person, even though you get a commission because Affordable Homes is trustworthy, they have integrity, they'll still pay you a commission. The person will leave you, and somebody else is attending to the person, talking to the person, giving them the whole knowledge they need, and at the end of the day, they buy. And Affordable Homes pays you commission, you get very happy, you go home, celebrate, give testimony, and then you start over and over again, start looking for somebody else to be the middleman or the middlewoman too. Now, one disadvantage of that is that you will end up missing the potential clients that will come from that particular person because that person must have seen your flop, seen that you're not able to deliver well. So they will end up going back to the person you refer them to for inquiries for the new person and the new clients they are bringing. At that point, you have missed that sales. You have missed that particular client coming from that person. I've seen where most of my business colleagues sends me people they want me to talk to about a particular product, about a particular services. At the end of the day, it's discovered that those people always come back to me, not to them. And they also bring people and refer people to me. That is why it is very, very profound and important that you gather knowledge. Knowledge is the key. Knowledge is very, very important. And let me give you an instance. Let's say, imagine you are selling, let's say you are selling, how do I put it? Let's say you are selling a bag in your shop and then you have your neighbors. Please help me, please. You have your neighbors selling the same bags and everything. And then I walk into your store and I check the bags, beautiful bags, probably the same price to your neighbors. And I went to your neighbor's store and checked their own, the same bag you guys are selling, the same prices and everything. What do you think will make me buy that bag from any of the persons in that line? The same bag, the same color, the same price, even the same lane. Not as if I went to trade fair and I went to the other market. No, just the same market lane. Everybody is together. What will make me buy from a particular person and leave the other person? Now, let me not waste your time. Number one, that will make me buy the for a particular person is customer service. Customer service. Number two is professionalism. That also this is customer service. Because I can walk into a store now, and let's say I'm finding it difficult to choose a particular bag. I'm like, which one now should I take? Should I take this red color or this black color? People there are looking at me, okay, when you are done, come, let us come and make your payment, and then you go. Or they don't even look at me, so they don't even care about what I'm struggling with. They just ignored me and left me behind. I might be there, be there, be there. I said, let me check the other store. As I walk into there, I said, oh, welcome, sir. So, which one do you want? I'm still looking for the one I want. Come, let me show you. This red one is very good, but this color, blah, 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 blah. This black one is very good, but this color, those things, and then those knowledge they're explaining to me will make me end up buying from them because I can see somebody I can trust. I'm seeing customer service now. I'm seeing somebody that has knowledge. Let me give an instance. Let's say I'm like, between this one, which one should I take? I say, Oga, both of them are good. But for me, I'll say you should take the black one since you are buying it for your child. So they will not go and study it in school. You know, black will hide the dates in the bag. So it will not be too dirty every time. So just take the black one and it's very good, it's very strong. I'm good to go. Guess what? If I'm coming back again, that same store, because they helped me the first time. So the same thing applies to any business you are doing at all. If you don't have knowledge about that business, you will not do well. You might make sales by mistake, but one thing about sales, the goal of sales is not just a one-time thing, it's a continuous process that happens. The referrals that happens, the recommendation that happens over and over again. This is why we need all these things. This is why Afreboms is putting up this school of realtors for you to gather knowledge and then remind yourself. Now, number two reasons why you need to come to classes like this is not just for knowledge, it's also for networking and for ideas. Because you might know everything and then you are just there on your own trying to push. But when you come to classes like this, you tend to gather ideas. Something can just drop on your head like an inspiration. Oh, look at what I'm going to do today. Because you are together in that same house, in that same room. And then you meet other people, network with them, know what they are doing that you can do better, and then advance yourself. So when you stay on your own and stay in the house and like, oh, I know it all, then most times you discover that you not be seeing what's going on, understanding what's going on in the industry. This is why it's important for us to gather knowledge. Now, I want to talk about my topic today is about real estate terms, some important terms you need to know in real estate. By the way, I've been in this industry for this is over 5 years now. I've been in this industry, so I've gathered some knowledge by the grace of God. So now, talking about all you need to know about land titles. Now, get this. I am not just teaching you this just to know, probably as my client. No, I want you to understand this so you'll be able to explain to other people. Like your clients needs this. Because trust me, most of our clients are ignorant about land titles, especially land titles. You always see this question coming back to you over and over again. And if you don't know how to explain it, you might miss the deal. Because some clients, the only thing they know is just CFO. So when they check and ask you, he doesn't have CFO, and you said no, that's just it. That's the end of the story. So if you cannot explain, you cannot explain to them what does it mean, even the CFO they're talking about, they don't even know what it means. Somebody just told them it's CFO, and that just becomes the deal of the day, and that is just it. So you need to understand these things. So we're going to be talking about all you need to know about land titles. So my next slide, let's go ahead. Are we together? Yes, let's go ahead. So if you have any question, you can pause me. No, don't pause me. Just ask me the question at the end of the class. Just note it down so that we can flow together. Now, let's understand this now. Even people that are asking you about CFO or whatever, one thing you must understand in Nigeria is that all lands belong to the government. Everybody say it. All lands belong to the government. That is why, as much as possible, try to enter government. Even if it's local government chairman, be one. And I have plans for that. So try, contest for governorship, contest for president, enter government, because all lands belong to the government. We also saw the popular news that what happened when our president was inaugurated and they made Wike, I think Minister of Lands or something in Abuja, and Wike said it's demolishing buildings. If you don't have CFO or whatever, it was even revoking people's CFOs. So that power is because all lands in Nigeria, no matter where they are, even in our villages, it belongs to the government. That's the law, as you can see. So that's a Land Use Act of 1978. It means all lands belong to the government. That is why every individual, every family, every company will pass to the government before they'll be able to market any land as per is for sale or whatever. So all land belongs to the government. Now, a land can either be free or under government acquisition. Two things. A land free from government encumbrances makes it easy to obtain certificate of occupancy or any type of land title. So the first thing first is there are two things about this land. It can either be free or is under government acquisition. You understand as I move forward. So when it's free from government acquisition, it now means okay, that land is free to be obtained for that titles like CFO, accession, deed of assignment, and all the rest of that. So this is one thing you must note. Whether it's my father's land or my grandfather's land, it still belongs to the government. And that is why government always require you that you come and obtain your certificate for that land and things you need to do. So I'll explain this thing as we move on. The next slide. I hope we're together. So next slide. Okay, now, so it's important for anyone seeking to purchase real estate to search the title of such property at appropriate land registry. Now, each state maintains a land registry where a title to a property can be searched. This land title in Lagos State can be searched through the Land Bureau at Alausa Ikeja, Lagos. The diligent search for the land title can also involve a search at the court registry, where the title of the land involves court judgment or probate registry in case of property of a deceased person. So, land registry is something that happens in every state in Nigeria. So all this land you see, that's why government knows every land. They know all of them. It's on their system. They have the map of the whole lands in any state. So they can actually trace it and search for who owns that land or the documents where that who that land belongs to. Are we together? Are we together? So first thing first, all lands belong to the government. Second thing is that the land can be under government acquisition or is a free land that government have released. And I will explain that in details as we move forward. And all these lands can be searched. Now, by the end of this class, you understand why even as an individual or why you should advise your client not to even venture into buying lands from individuals, except they have the strength for the stress, or except you have the strength for the stress, okay? Or except the person you want to buy the land from already have documents of the land. They have gone through all those stress and they just want to buy it from them. And then you have to apply for that titles like governor's consent. Okay? So this is why all this stress now, land search, government acquisition, titles, this is what real estate companies like Afebooms go through to make sure it becomes easy for the clients and it becomes stress-free. Why people are experiencing issues where they buy land from a particular person and at the end of the day the same person sold the land to somebody else. It's because these are individuals playing with people's head and their money. Somebody will sell the land to somebody, sell the same land to another person. We'll still give them documents of the land. And at the end of the day, they end up fighting for who is owner of the land. It can only happen between families and individuals, but not companies like this. Are we together? So the next slide, let's go. Now, if a property does not have your name on its title, another person can legally claim that property, even if the property belongs to you. But as long as you possess the relevant title documents recognized by the government, then you have nothing to worry about. The Office of the Land Registry records all legally recognized land titles. So it means if you like, say it's your father that gave you the land, or your mother that gave you the land, or it's your family land, if you don't have the documents of that land, somebody can end up claiming the land. That is why land documents, land titles is something very, very important that we must obtain. Next one. So once you have your land titles, you are at liberty to do what you please with your property. You can transfer it whenever or to whomever you please. Now, the controversy over ownership of land in Nigeria is extreme, like I said earlier, even among family members on a daily basis. People are trooping into Nigerian High Court to settle land disputes. All these things happens because of land documents, land titles that they don't have. These are people are struggling over land. This is what happens in Nigeria. But you can see, if you observe, you discover that some of these things have dropped, all these land disputes, because of companies have come in now. So people buy more from listed companies because if you have any issue, go to the company. Nothing concerns you and family members or individuals. So it's always streamless and stressless. So next slide. Okay, just about blah 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 blah. So to avoid this, one of the first questions you should ask, and this is why people that have knowledge in real estate also ask us the same questions, is that before you buy any land, what is the title on that land? So they will always ask you, what is the land title? What is the land title? Okay, so document that prove ownership of the property. Now, key land titles in Nigeria in order to avoid a sore tail and endless visit to the court. These are the key documents to know and how you can access them. So I'm going to be showing you some of these land titles documents, what they mean, and then so when you see them in a flyer, you understand what it means. You can explain to your clients or your prospects what it actually means to have those titles there. So now, next thing you are seeing there is that this is very, very important. There are two types of acquisition when it comes to land in Nigeria. We have one called global acquisition, and we have the other one, committed acquisition. These are two types of acquisition when it comes to land in Nigeria. Now, committed here means the land has interest by the government. So when you hear committed acquisition, it means that land has interest by the government. It means the governments have seen this land and said this land, because sometimes government can come and tell you, see, we have plans of building airports in Amo in the next 50 years. And they have mapped that particular portion of land and say, Vision 2075, airport will be here. And the government will just walk away. Then some people will wake up and start selling the land without making research and even start building on the land. Government most times will ignore them and focus because they are too busy with their election and every other thing they are doing. One day, one governor will enter and remember that vision or that blueprint and go and say, hey, what is that airport we wanted to build in that land? They will check it and say, yeah, let's go and start building our airport. When they come to that particular portion of land, they don't care what is there. Whether it's 7-story building, they will demolish everything and continue their project. This is why people have issues with land. They'll start crying. We have the document of this land. Government no send you because the first time you did not make your research very well to confirm if it's under government acquisition before you proceed. Now, whenever governments have interest in any land, they don't have, they don't have the title document of that. Let's say that land is belongs to individuals. Government will always step in to compensate you if they need the land. Remember, all land belongs to them. But because you own that land, you have the documents. They will come to compensate and say, please, take this also place or take this money. We want to do something with this land. It's very important to us. And that's what happens with other people too that have documents to their land. So committed acquisition means government already have interest in those lands. The government, just like this popular area now, so government have already portioned their lands that they want in that areas. Imagine we have the new airports coming in those areas. So if you go and buy land in airport land that belongs to the government, you just want to buy problem for yourself. Because when the government will come and demolish everything, this is why it's important to go through companies. I don't know how many of us were in our one-day conference at Affable Homes, or that was last 2 weeks or last week, where we said we have a lawyer, that the lawyer must go through everything before we start selling. The lawyer must make sure there is no issue with this land, because even Affable Homes doesn't have strength for stress. Because it's not easy when you sell land. After selling land, you now come back and start looking for how to solve problem with the land. It's very, very stressful. And mostly when government is involved, it's extremely stressful. Something happened in Enugu, a popular place called Centenary City, where a particular company acquired a huge portion of land in that area, another particular place. So they have their estate. So something happened. The family, the villagers, still went back to sell the land they sold to the company to other individuals. And most of them started building. So this company were too busy because the land was so big. They were still busy doing their own stuff inside the estate. And other people are busy with their land somewhere else. At the end of the day, when they are done with their own busy stuff, they came back and saw that people are already building in their lands. And they went and called government, started demolishing people's houses, pushing people away. They don't care. For them, they have the document of the land. That's why it's important you make adequate research. And it's important, even as an individual, when somebody is calling you, okay, you're into real estate, come and sell for me. Get the documents, know what is involved in that document. Make sure everything is good to go before you enter stress and problem by selling the land. That is why you must go through a company like Affable Homes to ease your stress. When I sell land at Affable Homes, I just go and sleep. I don't have strength. Just go and sleep. I know that everything is good to go. I have clients who have bought from me. They don't even know where the land is. Their own is as far as is you, as far as the company. We are relaxed. Everything is good to go. And that is just how it's supposed to be. So we have committed or non-committed. So non-committed, yes. So this is called global or non-committed. And the other one is committed. So global or non-committed refers to the land that has been acquired long ago by the government. So government can say this land in Vision 2020, 2050 or 2075 will have purpose for this land, for an airport, for an hospital or whatever. They have blueprints of that particular area. So it means this land, government has interest in this land. So whenever you see this non-committed or global acquisition, it means government has interest. Now I'm going to show you what it means for government not to have interest in my next slide. So when you see that, when the government have removed their hands from this particular land, remember, like I said, the foundation is still all lands belong to the government. Even if it's C of O, that's still government together. So, but those documents is what that enables you to do whatever you want to do with the land because government are giving you a go ahead. It belongs to you now. This is called a cession. It's a title. It's a real estate title. It's called a cession. Now, what does it mean? It simply means that the government releasing a parcel of land that has been under global acquisition. And remember the first one, I said it's global acquisition. So now, a cession means governments have released this land and say, oh yeah, take. So this land can be given to a family or an individual because now, for instance, in our villages now, every family have their lands. They have their lands from their forefathers and they've already shared those lands. Even this land came from Adam. People started sharing it, started selling some. I don't understand why, but that's just how it is. Now, so government says now they own all the land. It belongs to them. So something can also happen for government to leave that land for you. And the first step is called a cession. This decision is like a woman who is in her family house. She answers the family name, and then somebody is coming to marry this woman. So the family will excise that lady and say, yeah, we have released this woman for you. Marry her and take care of her. She starts bearing your name. They will not give you a document. She starts bearing your name as a man, and then she now belongs to your family. The same thing happens in land. So a family or individual interested in such land can process a government-approved decision, and documentation for the land can be processed up to the governor's consent level. We'll get there. So decision means that governments have released this particular portion of land, and so yeah, the family or the villagers or the individual involved can go ahead and develop the land, sell the land, or do whatever they want to do with the land. Governments are remove their interest from that land. Now, one thing that happens also is that when people go for maybe land search, let's say for instance now, um, a particular village, a particular community wants to develop their community. Let's say they want to involve companies to come and buy lands and develop the place as an estate. So because they know all lands belong to the government, even though they own the land, they will need to get the company involved and go to the government for the government to give them that official record and go ahead order of where this particular, sometimes they might go with, let's say, 100 hectares or 200 acres. We'll explain those things in details here. And government will say, no, just do only 50 hectares. Go ahead, leave the other one, or go ahead with this one. So that thing means that land has passed through a cession. Now, after a cession is a document that is called Gazette. Now, Gazette is the official record that proves that a land has been excised from the government. So let's say, for instance, you went to school. After your school, 6 years, 5 years, you receive a certificate that shows that you went to that school for social course. This is what Gazette does. So it's the official record that bears record of the land, that the land has been released by the government and everything involved in the land. Now look at this. Gazette is an official record book that spells out all details of an expanse of land that has been excised and given back to the community. These details include the name of the community, details of the expanse of the land given a cession. The decision document is usually taken to the Surveyor General's office for the land to be gazetted. Now, with a gazette, a person can apply for certificate of occupancy or governor's consent, which is a document granting permission to use and own the land for 99 years. So that is why I said that even governments, some people are claiming CFO, whatever, governments still have regulations in all those things. Government always needs money. So they always look for a way to get money from you. So even if you own the land and apply for CFO, you only have 99 years and you reapply again for CFO. As I'm telling you guys, enter government. Enter government. I heard, I don't know if it's true, I heard that the footballers that came back from AFCON were given lands in Abuja. Right? So how is it possible? It's government power. So imagine you're just a footballer, you went to play, but after you're coming back, they gave you land in Abuja. That's it. But other people are still saving up money to buy land in those areas. Wow. So you can see. So It happens in 99 years. Now, take note of something here. Discover that they says, I wanted to say the Bible says, they says a person can apply for certificate of occupancy or governor's consent. Now, which means you cannot apply for certificate of occupancy, which means C of O, without going to the first step called a scission or gazetting. So any land that you see that have C of O must have a scission, must have the record court gazetted, must have deed of assignment, must have a survey plan. Like C of O is like the highest, but not really the highest in quote. I'm coming there. I will explain all these things in details. So before you apply this thing called governor's consent of C of O, it means this land must have passed through all these stages. You cannot just fly and say, oh, C of O. No, it doesn't happen that way. Just like you cannot just fly and obtain BSc or PhD without having even nursery school certificate or first school living certificate. This is how it happens in this place too. Let's move ahead. Are we together? This one we have there is called governor's consent. Governor's consent. Now I'm taking these things. If you observe, you discover that this thing is coming from the up, and then we are just moving and going forward. Now, governor's consent simply refers to the approval of the governor of every state of Nigeria of any transaction concerning land. Now, it is an integral part of land transactions, as consent is usually required for the perfection of any land transaction. The main purpose of obtaining a governor's consent is so the government is aware that ownership of land has been transferred to another person. This consent can be applied for and obtained multiple times, as many times as possession of such land is being handed over to multiple purchasers over time. Governor's consent helps in legalization of such property, as the government is made aware of the transfer of ownership rights. Therefore, as long as the consent is obtained by the buyer, the ownership rights will be properly secured. Governor's consent. Now, when people talk about C of O as the highest, I don't know for them, but my mind belief is governor's consent is the highest. Let me tell you why. Now, when governor's consent comes in, is where before you see governor's consent in every land, in any land, just be aware that that land has C of O. Now, where this thing is very, very important is that, for instance, for C of O of every land, there can be two C of O in any particular land. If you buy a land now, and then you apply and get your documents to C of O level, which means certificate of occupancy for 100 years in that land bears your name, whether it's 1 plot, 2 plots, or whatever plots. It bears your name and bears that title of certificate of occupancy, that's C of O. Let's say tomorrow you want to sell that land to me. When you are giving me that land, you are giving me your document of C of O. But I cannot have my name in that same land as C of O, because government cannot give two C of O in one land. So if your name is Mr. John still has C of O, even though he gave it to me, his name is still there as C of O of that land. Now, what will I do to make sure I can prove that I own this land? Because Mr. John can come to me and tell me and say that I stole the certificate from him, because certificate bears his name, and I will start going to court and whatever. What will make me know that I have legal rights to that land is to apply for governor's consent. Because I will submit the C of O to the government that, see, I bought this land from this man. Look at our transaction, look at the receipt, look at the deed of assignment or whatever. So now I need the government to be aware that I'm the new owner of this land. So you now have governor's consent. So it means alongside with Mr. John's C of O, you still have governor's consent in the land that bears your name. But C of O does not bear, and it still bears Mr. John's name. Are we together? This is where governor's consent comes in. Okay? So somebody cannot just come and tell you, it's just governor's consent, nothing again. No C of O. It's not possible. That's a forge on. Because the land must have C of O before governor's consent. Are we together? So this governor's consent is just to make governments to be aware that, see, this land belongs to me now. It belongs to me now. And even I can still sell that land to somebody else, and the person will still apply for governor's consent again, say, Mr. Governor, this land belongs to Mr. John, to Mr. Success, now it belongs to me. So government have the record of how the land is moving from one person to another. Let's move ahead. Now the next one I have there is the popular one, as we all know, called C of O, Certificate of Occupancy. Now it says it's an authorized document of grants issued by the state government to an individual, groups, or group of individuals or entity to confer ownership and right of occupancy in a definite land for all purpose for all time not exceeding 99 years, subject to renewal. You see that word there? Subject to renewal, like I said earlier. So you have to apply again. You have to reapply. You have to just renew. Just like when we have tickets that we buy, we have some levies that we pay for a year. We own those things, but those things are just a way for us to give government money. Now, this certificate of occupancy, the document issued only once. And like I said earlier, it's issued only once to the first person to own and purchase such land as virgin land. Therefore, this document prevents multiple owners from claiming ownership of that piece of land. The CFO is usually issued for all government land allocation and properties, like I said earlier. So it means it's issued only once. So when you buy from somebody that has CFO, don't go and sleep. Apply for governor's consent. Of course, you can buy it if you don't have CFO. Then you can, yes, for CFO. Sure, but you will know how much you spend too when it comes to individual. Because let me give an instance. Let's say you just this is what happens too. You know why most families or most villagers employ companies to come and develop their lands is because most times it's the money to process those lands. Some of them will come. Let's say they have hundreds of hectares or acres. They just call company and say, okay, let's have a business. Take this land from us, help us process the documents up to CFO level if possible. And company will spend millions with the government trying to get those documents. So sometimes the agreement is when you are done, take 50 hectares for yourself because of the money you have spent and said, why would not have the other 50? And sometimes they do something like, okay, we give necessary amount of money for each plot while you sell your own. So this is why company comes in and because they have the big money, they do many things in that land and take over the land and continue to develop it. This is what happens in CFO. Now, as an individual, if you want to go by yourself to apply for these things, number one, it's stressful. Number two, it's expensive. I had a man told me that, I don't know if it's true, but I believe it's true. The man said to me that to apply for CFO for a particular plot can even cost you up to 10 million just for one plot. Is it true? Yes. So, and the stress, meeting to meeting, table to table, blah 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 blah. So is long. This is why most companies will just do everything at once and go ahead and push it. So this is what happens when it comes to CFO. So when you hear CFO, when people are telling you CFO, it's still government land. It's still government lands, subject to renewal after 99 years. Now look at this popular one called deed of assignment. So what does it mean when you hear the word deed of assignment? Like I said, get these things so that you can be able to explain to your clients and to your prospects. Now, some people be like deed of assignment. No, it doesn't have CFO. Okay, let's go. This document shows that you are the new owner of the property. It's a very important document that should not be overlooked. Take note. It should not be overlooked because many people are overlooking it. They're looking for CFO and they're leaving this one. And that is why they will end up not becoming landowners for a long time because they are waiting for CFO. Now, it also refers as deed of conveyance, which means the process of transfer of ownership. It shows evidence that the seller has transferred all ownership rights and title on that land to the buyer. So deed of you are assigning a particular portion of land to somebody. That's when you give that person deed of assignment. Now also take note that no land or no estate can have deed of assignment without going through decision, without going through gazetting before deed of assignment. Now let me explain this thing as I move ahead. Now, one of the ways for you to explain to your client about this whole documentation of a thing. Now, Afebums is doing free documentation these days, whereby you pay for that particular plot of land, you are good to go. It's no longer you pay a particular plot of land, you have to pay for documentation fee. But some people see it as, how should I pay for other fees again after paying for a particular portion of land? It's just as simple because, for instance, now you walk into a car park or a park garage and you bought yourself a good Lexus 2024, very expensive, millions, and you're like, I don't buy car. So you pick up the car and want to go to your village, and you're driving that car to the express road. Police will use you and chop money that day because they don't care about how much you bought the car. What they want is the documentation of the car because you have to give government their own money, apply for whatever, and have your documents. The same thing applies to land too. So for any purchase of land, government still have the documentation. Those documents government is giving you is not free. Are we together? Those Gazette of assignments is not free. Government is collecting money from those things. So that's why all these things are also involved in the plot of lands you are buying. So you can't just drive a car without the documentation of that car. You must have your documents, your papers, and it's not free. And another thing you need to know is that it's not the car buyers that gives you those documents, it's government. Car buyers will only give you receipts. So same thing happens in companies. Companies will give you the documents because they bought it from the government. They don't want to stress you because it will be a very big stress after buying from the company. You have to go back to the government again to start applying for documents. That's another stress. So company will go through all those stress for you and give it to you. So the price will be involved in everything. Secondly, I want to ask a question. In my personal office, um, I have a front desk. Her qualification was O level. She just finished secondary school and then she applied and she worked for us for about 2 years and she just resigned recently. And then we post out our vacancies online. And then somebody has applied and is a graduate. So I have to still employ her. And then salary is still almost the same thing, just something different. So I want to ask you a question. This is what happens in this industry too. When clients are asking you, if it's not CFO, I'm not buying. If it's not blah blah. So CFO is like, let's say you have masters or you have PhD. So does it mean people who have BSc or O levels cannot still get job? Hope they can get job. So this same thing is what applies to these things. Let your clients understand that it doesn't mean without CFO you cannot buy land or you cannot have peace of mind because those lands company owns it as a global CFO. So this thing is what the company is giving you called deed of assignment, meaning this particular plot is your own because it's to avoid confusion. Company acquires 500 plots CFO and the company gives you CFO and then government is like, what's going on here? That's what happens most times. Although some companies will still give you that CFO, but just like a marketing strategy. Are we together? So it doesn't mean if you have deed of assignment, you are not good to go. You are good to go because deed of assignment is also a strong one. It means you have passed through a session, gazette before you get to that point. So it's very, very important. Even now, all these things, all this stress of land titles most times happens mostly in Lagos because Lagos is the smallest state in Nigeria when it comes to land. Lagos has the highest population in Africa itself, and then has the smallest land size in Africa. So Lagos, that's why they have limited lands. That's why lands are more expensive in Lagos sometimes, and the stress involved is too much because Lagos government also wants to regulate everything very, very well. In the southeast, once you have survey plan, you are good to go. As I say, most of estate in the south is just see survey plan, deed of assignment. No issue, you are good to go because they have lands over there. And then those places are still coming up. So once you have survey plan, meaning surveyor general have gone through the land, map out the land boundaries and everything, apply to the government to check if it belongs to the government or whatever, it's good to go. So it's only here in Lagos that see things like CFO, even the so-called CFO. Some people are still scared, they are not still safe. You understand? That's because there's limited portion of lands here in Lagos. All right, so we have the next one called survey plan. So survey plan is just like when just like we have architects that draws plan for buildings. So survey plan has to do with surveyor generals because for every land, so let's say the villagers are saying, okay, we have 20 hectares or 40 acres or whatever in this place. Surveyors will have to come in to map out the land, to measure it, to check the boundaries. So they also have systems like computer systems whereby with the government they can also bring out know where the land is from the government. They can make their search. This is where surveyors come in. And you all know our GMD is a surveyor. Nafe Booms, she's a surveyor. So she knows all these things too. So a survey plan details the exact measurements and description of the land, including the length, breadth. It also helps to reveal if the land is under government acquisition. When you see survey plan, it means for surveyor to be involved, they must have checked whether this land is into government whatever or not into government whatever. Okay, so and then okay, which is known as committed land, like I said earlier. So committed property is one of the states or federal government as aim as marked for a particular project. So to avoid conflict with the government, every land must be surveyed by a certified surveyor and a survey plan submitted for approval. Let me give you an instance of what happens. So what happens is that it happens in affordable homes too. Affordable homes, for every land they want to buy, first of all, surveyor will be involved, lawyers will be involved. Surveyors will go and map out that land, measure it, and take the survey plan. So for instance, let's say the land is like this, like this, like this, like this to cover 200 plots. Surveyors will take that survey plan to the government for approval. And the government look at this land to approve it for the survey plan, meaning after booms, so estate survey plan. Government will look at it first, check their system. Oh, this land did not enter our own land, or we don't have any land here. And then they will not, once the government has approved that land, from there, it's good to go. Because most of you see our estate, you see something like deed of assignment and registered survey. Now, there's other things that is called purchase receipt. So this one happens mostly with companies. So you buy land, the company will give you receipts of the land you bought. So that tomorrow, you're telling the company that you bought land from them, you have to also show your receipt of the payment. Most times it has to do with when you're paying, for instance, installment payment. Let's say you have paid 1.5, remaining 500, and company does not know that you paid 1.5. They'll ask where is your receipt. Let's know that you paid the 1.5 earlier on. So this is what happens. Or just receipt is receipt everywhere. Whoever you bought land from can also give you receipt of that land with your name, the price, the amount of money you paid for the land. This is what it's called receipt. So we have what we call contract of sales. So this thing is a legal document that must give a full description of what is being purchased and a description of payments to be made in the present and in the future. So most times people buy lands and they receive what's called contract of sales. So the company can tell them, so this land you are buying, in the nearest future, there may be other fees that will be decided by the company for you to pay. And the fees is for the development of the estate. So for instance, after we are done selling this particular estate, so maybe in the nearest future, we might want to do street lights, do road, do gutters and drainages. So we want to make sure everybody will also contribute because at your estate now, you understand? So let's contribute money and do our roads. And this is what Igbo people are doing here in Lagos, developing so many areas by contributing money. They can't wait for the government to come to their rescue every time. So they just do their own road and move ahead. This is what happens in contract of sales. So most times company will say that, see, in the nearest future, may be paying 1 million naira or a certain amount, or we'll tell you the amount we will contribute that particular time for us to make sure we develop this place and make it good. Sometimes employee securities and all the rest of that. So it can happen in contract of sales for you to see what's good. This is what it means. Next one I have there, power of attorney. So power of attorney is a property is a legal document transferring legal rights to the attorney or agents to manage and assess the principal property in the event where the principal is unable to do themselves. Now, this one, you can see it in the title of the land too. Some estate has power of attorney. Now, what happens here is that most individuals, most owners of lands don't know anything about real estate. So they might even have CF or they might even have other documents. But because they want to bring in maybe an agent or a consultant or a company, they will give the company power of attorney to have rights to sell that land or develop the land. So it means there is somebody behind the scene working with them while they have the rights to sell the land. But this one happens mostly in developed countries like US, mostly in buildings and so many other things. So because sometimes before you see this one, you just put deed of assignment instead of this one. So it's a bit uh, similar, but not really the same, but just slight difference. So now let's talk about land sizes quickly, because sometimes people be like, what size of the land? Which one is 50 by 100 or whatever in land, or 120? Let's move ahead. Now, in Nigeria, land is measured by acres, hectares, meters, and feet. Okay, so I don't have time for this English. All these things are just there. You can get the slide later. Let me just go straight to the pattern. So we have what's called plot. A plot of land is marked out piece of land according to Nigeria's land divisions. The appropriate plot for a house construction is 100 by 50. Now, hectares is a land measuring 100 times 100 millimeter, or 328 feet times 328 feet is about 2.5 acres. So we have plot, we have acres, we have hectares. Now, on the other hand, an acre is a regular plot of land, which is total of 4,046 square meters. We'll break this thing down, don't worry. Yeah, we can show this slide later. We will do that for you. So now let me just move ahead. Now when people ask what is the plot of land, standard plot of land. Now, when it comes to Nigeria, the standard plot of land is 100 by 50. The standard plots 100 by 50. But like areas like Lagos goes with 120 by 60. So, but other states only see more of 100 by 50. So I'm still wondering why Lagos State will say is 120 by 60 when they don't even have enough lands. So that's why you see they will convert it to square meters, 600 square meters, and other. Now, all these things are not really where you want to crack your brain on, because you might not get it. But you can get it when you work close with surveyors practically, when you follow them to sites and see how they are measuring. These are work of surveyors. So what you need to care about is the estate you are marketing, the size that is there. The people ask, let's say for instance now, let's say you just know that land in Lagos is 120 by 60. And maybe the clients already know that it's 120 by 60. Now you're marketing a land that is in the southeast that is 100 by 50. And you're telling the client it's 120 by 60. After you discover it's no longer that same size. So it might be a confusion. So let them know that in Lagos, that's the size for Lagos. But in southeast, Enugu, Asaba is 100 by 50. That's a normal size. Now, you can also see that when it comes to the square meters, sometimes there can be this kind of confusion of it's not complete. Why is it 460 square meter or 460 something square meter? Why is it not 500? Why is it not 600? Now, what happens there is that for the estate, it's actually complete. It might be 460, it might be 4 whatever, it might be 500, it might be 600. But what happens in the estate is that there's, let's say for instance, the family will sell like 200 plus to an estate, and they have measured it. It's 200 plus, let's say 600 square meter. Everything is complete. But remember, they did not check the roads in that estate. They did not check the security houses. They did not check the fences and whatever. They just measured the land. So company will come and cut it to portion some of them for roads. So imagine you don't have road in an estate. That way you enter your house. You'll be climbing people's fence to enter your house. So there is road, and those road also acquires plots. So they will remove plot here, make this road, make this road. So most times it now comes down to 450 something or 400 and something. But it's still a normal size. But just that there is road, there's drainages, there's other things, there's fences that makes it to come down when it comes to real estate companies. Are we together? The people will tell you, it's not complete. No, explain to them. You will not fly into your house. You will pass through the road. So that road also has to do with plots. I've seen people that will acquire 20 plots of land and use like 15 for just space of their compound and road, only 5 for their building. So these things are involved in those things. Okay, so explain to them better. It is complete, but road is involved. This one is the other things are involved in those things. Now, hectares. Now let's look at hectares. A hectare is one of the least known matrix units and one which potential buyers and estate developers seems to struggle with. It's a land measuring 100 by 100 millimeter or 328 feet by 328 feet. Is about 2.5 acres. So 1 hectare will give you 2.5 acres. Now, normally when it comes to Lagos, how many plots makes 1 acre? 6 plots. So when it comes to hectare now, how many plots will make 1 hectare? Exactly, around those areas. Although most of these things, they might give you the same plot, but if you check Lagos and South Seas, there'll be slight difference in the measurements because of their own standard plots and Lagos standard plots. Are we together? That's just the difference when it comes to that. Now, acres is a standard unit of measurement used by land settlers, and it's almost equivalent to the size of a standard football field. Are we together? So acre has to do with like a size of standard football field. An acre is a product of any rectangular plot of land giving a total of 4,046 square meter or 43,560 square meter, depending on whether it's 60 by 100, 60 by 120, or 50 by 100. But like I said, all these calculations is not what is on your head. Your own is what's the flyer saying, and how can you interpret it for the person to understand, and the location involves. Yes.
Please, a request.
Yes, ma'am.
If other people are interested,
Admin, you answer that.
Okay. So I can keep it. I always go back to that.
Yes.
As a reference.
So moving on. Yeah, which way? Yes. So that's why always interpret what you see on the flyer. Always go through it. If you have questions, call the customer care, call the front desk, ask them, explain this thing to me in detail so I will understand how to explain it. So you don't go and promise somebody land in Asaba that is 120 by 60. When it's not, even there, it's not even the normal standard of plot there. Okay, so that's what is involved. Now, that is just about land size. Now, I have something very, very important I need to show us, and that is I have a very short class again to finish up this short topic about network marketing. How many of us saw a woman with a microphone with a new car during the one-day conference? When I asked, African homes can shock you. When I asked, because the woman with the mic was busy advertising the car and saying we'll give somebody cash, you don't even know she was the person, part of the people. When I asked, how did this one happen? So I discovered it's part of networking that she did. Not really more of sales, it's more of recruiting people. And one thing about networking is that one thing happened to me one day. I had a client that bought from me, and the client said, I want to register, I want to be part of your realtors. I said, okay, fine. I gave him my link, registered. And boom, company dropped 12K for me. I said, what? 12K? Somebody paid 40K, you dropped 12K. I said, wow, okay. That's one that business on its own. Because most of us are after sales. There are people under you, or people you know, that the contacts they have can give you money while you are sleeping, just by recruiting them and educating them. Because this industry is not really about you alone. It's not only you cannot do it. You can make money from your friends because your friends can have the contacts. That is why networking is very, very important. Your network is your net worth. Let me give an instance. Some of my friends came to my office, that was last month, about a project with the governor of Akwa Ibom State want to venture into. And then they came to me and said, Success, while we are bringing you on board, we have already spent millions in this project trying to bring it up. And why we are bringing you on board is because you have people we need. We need your network. We want you to bring in people that will help us finance this thing and that will help us come up with more ideas. I said, how much is involved for me? They gave me my own cut and said, look at the percentage when this thing works. I said, okay, I started thinking. They will start working towards it, start having meetings. I remember one man. I said, yes, I have one man in my church. And once I bring him in, we'll push very far. I brought the man in. The man came in and he's a master in that industry. He came in and gave us all the ideas we need because he has worked with the government before. And the man I'm bringing in, his own percentage is higher than my own. So he's an organ. So they gave him his own higher cut. He's not the one even involved. He's in the forefront of the whole project. They have gone to meet the governor of Akwa Ibom State for the meeting and others. What am I saying? It's about network. So imagine they don't have me, and then I don't have that man. So it happens everywhere. Your network is your network. And many of us have network of people who have potential clients on our list. We're not marketing to them. So it's very, very important you know how to apply networking in this industry to make more money. Let's move ahead. When I said network marketing is leveraging on other people's contacts, like I said, skills, network, experience to sell real estate. Leverage in other people's contacts, their skills, their experience to sell real estate. Now, but one profit we have here at Affordable Homes is that it's not only about leveraging on them alone to sell. Affordable Homes also pay you by bringing them in. So, for instance, who is writing that point in our class? So for instance, you are recruiting somebody into the industry to start selling. And remember, Affordable Homes will pay you commission depending on your plan if the person sells. But first of all, you will receive your own money first for recruiting that person before the person even makes sales. So you're making money from recruitment, you're making money from your own sales, you're making money from your own downline sales. There are people that they don't even worry about marketing. They're only that, oh, my downline have made sales. Let me go and collect my money. They just collect their money. So this is what this networking does. What you are looking for is in people's hands. People have it. So look for a way to network with them. I'm going to show you some ideas. No matter how safe your marketing budget is, there are people you can't reach without networking. There are people you can't reach. There are some big men, before you get their appointment, you stress. You pass through stress and money. So you need network to get them. How do you do that? There is somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows them. Look for a way and involve common interests in all of them, and you get the person. Just common interests. I was talking about networking. We have to even go to the governor's son earlier. That one collected his own courts. If you not still work out with him, you have to leave him and go to another person again. So all these things are what is involved in networking. For instance, there are people know that this guy is this man's friend. And if you can talk to this man to bring me for a meeting, that means I can have a meeting with that man. So tell the man, see, I want to have a meeting with your guy. If you'll be able to work this meeting, I'll give you 20K. Who want 20K? I'll give him a 20K. Come and have a meeting with him. Door is open. And then you can explain your business to the person. And then possibly by the grace of God, make your money from that particular sales. So you need this networking to work. Now look at this. 8 tips to mastering real estate network marketing. I'm showing you 8 tips now that you can use to push ahead. Number 1 is get mentors. Get people who have been there ahead of you, who have been doing it. As a matter of fact, now, woman with the mic is a potential mentor now. She has evidence full ground. She be car owner. So she can be your mentor. Try to know, how is she doing this thing? How are they doing this thing? How can I be like them? How can I partake like them? Next one. Yeah, of course. Do you know too? Next one is build quality relationships. The man I was able to bring on board in that my team was because he knows me and he respects me. So we have that relationship going on. When I was about to do my wedding, I was, all this Nigeria, we got rent car for wedding. I was looking for, where do I rent car now for my wedding? And they were calling money. Number 3, build your personal brand as a realtor too. Let people get to know you. Show yourself out there. I said this oftentimes that if you're in this industry and somebody is buying land on your contact list and they're not coming through, you're not doing well. You must be on their mind. If I want to buy land now and I have your contact, you must be the first thing that will appear on my mind. You must be on their mind. How do you do that? By reminding them of who you are and what you do. How do you do that? By posting, creating awareness. You go to church, you get awareness. Wherever you go, there's awareness over and over again. Make people understand who you are and what you are doing. Number 4 is take advantage of the internet. Of course, like I said. Now you can say, okay, every new month, I must send happy new months to all my prospects or people I know, my contacts, and say, happy new month, welcome to the month of February, welcome to the month of love, so and so realtor, or blah, 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 consultants. Then you now say to them, for any inquiries about land, I sell land, blah, blah. That's it. They may not reply you, they may not even say whatever, but they have taken note of that thing and they have seen it. One day, land issue will come up. They'll be like, who do I see that used to post land every time? They'll remember you. So take advantage of the internet. Create awareness of what you do. Let people know what you do and who you are. Number 5 is attend events. Of course, like this. Even as I'm here now, I've grabbed enough knowledge from Barrister. Yes. So imagine I did not come for this class. So when you come to classes like this, even your colleague, your neighbor, you can get ideas from them. You share ideas, you get inspiration, you get things on your next step, what you want to move to do in the next step. But if you stay at home, you can't grab all these ideas. You can't know the next step. You've just been there posting flyer up and down, getting discouraged and tired of what is going on. Number 6 is be involved in your immediate community, church, mosque, school, neighborhood. Be involved. Let people know that, oh, you are into this thing in your neighborhood. Your church should know you sell land. You don't even know whether church want to open another branch and they need land. You can be involved. And even church, you say, our member is involved, so they will not price, they will not bill us too much. It will be affordable. No, wala. Company will still pay you commission for bringing the church. So be involved in this neighborhood. These are your networks. So, because some of us, we are still focusing on only Facebook adverts, Instagram adverts. And remember, most people are skeptical in buying from online. They are still scared. They don't know you. They don't trust you yet. Most of your clients will come from your contact lists. Most of your clients will come from your friends. Most of them will come from your church. People that just know you and trust you. So while you are pushing outside, pushing Facebook and Instagram posts or whatever, also focus on the ones you have. They are called your domestic markets, the ones you have around you. This is your network, and they're very, very powerful. They're very, very important. Then the next one I have there is, of course, that's what we're doing here, invest in knowledge. That's what we are doing here. We're investing in knowledge. We are spending time, 2 hours of our time trying to gather knowledge together. The next one I have there is, now look at this. These are key points. Recruit leaders. Key personals, facility health, officers, and lots more. Let me give an idea. Do you know you can involve, like I said, your network, people who are big, that have influence over people. These are even companies involve content creators, comedians that have influence, that have followers, to market lands for them and pay them. Because imagine Sabine saying Afebooms, something huge, has a big push already. And we are paying Sabinus. And then clients will come through because they love him. They want to come train. So you can start small. You must not go through content creation where you pay millions. You can start with your pastor. So that for every land I sell in this church, my tithe will be 15%, not 12, not 10%. Make another person look advertise you. People of God, we have a member in our church that deals with land, anything that has to do with land. That's why involve people you can share common interests with. Let me give an instance now. Church has a massive project, and you have checked. If I say 10 plots from this church, look at how much is my commission. I can give church this particular amount. Go and meet pastor and say, Pastor, look at my business idea. Look at what I do. If I sell land from this church now, we'll go buy that. We'll go buy that gen. Or yeah, advertise for me. So recruit people. Pastor's wife, they have influence. They have influence. See, just I'm into the media industry. Just that in my church one day, because of my commitment and service to God through my church and my bishop called me out one day in a service and said, "This guy, I don't know this guy before. I was flying to Owerri and I saw him flying together with me on the same plane. And I asked him where he was going. I said he was going to work. This guy is a big man who everything has to do with media. Since that day, anybody in my church that wants to do events that will not call me, the person is assuming that they don't have money. Or they cannot pay me. Because everybody wants to go through me, whether it's wedding or whatever, they want to call me. Because Bishop have given me that endorsement of this guy is good. You just need endorsement from some people. This person, in this company, you want to buy land, this person is good to go. It don't be for you. That's the thing. So recruit those people, build relationship with them. So these people are people that can. I heard of somebody that sold that money. I saw the commission in Purple Friday. The thing just made me heat start coming out of my body. I was just doing so. I saw millions. I saw figures in commission. I say, how? What are we doing? How did it happen? He sold to a company. So imagine how many plots they will buy and how much you'll be paid. These are people you need: CEOs, directors, managers. So go to them, recruit them, let them know what you are doing and what you do. And that brings me to the end of my class finally for today.